Imagine this, you are 22 years old, holding your first paycheck. The possibilities seems endless, but as the money slips through your fingers, rent, groceries, student loans, you are left wondering how people manage to build wealth when simply staying afloat feels impossible. Now rewind. Your grandparents' generation earned their first paycheck too, but something was different. They bought homes in their 20s, raised families on a single income, and retired comfortably at 60. What changed? Why does financial stability feel so out of reach for young people today? To answer that, we need to unravel a story decades in making. A story of economic shifts, systemic changes, and societal pressure. It's a story filled with heroes, villains, and choices that ripple through time, affecting millions. Our journey begins in mid-20th century, a golden era for economic growth. Post-World War II, countries like United States experienced unprecedented prosperity. Manufacturing boomed, creating stable, well-paying jobs, college tuition affordable, housing cheap, pension guaranteed. It wasn't perfect, but for many, financial independence felt achievable. Now, fast forward to late 20th century. The 1980s brought a seismic shift. Globalization and automation started reshaping industries. Stable factory jobs vanished, replaced by low-paying service jobs. At the same time, college tuition began its steep climb. In 1970, the average annual tuition at a public university was just over $300. By 2020, it exceeds to $10,000. Students graduating today are burdened with debt that their grandparents could not have imagined. But there's more. Housing, once a symbol of stability, became a battleground. In 1970s, the median home price in US was about $25,000. Adjusted for inflation, that's around $150,000 today. But the current median price, over $400,000. The math does not add up, especially when wages have not kept pace. And speaking for wages, there's a shocking truth. Adjusted for inflation, the average young worker today earn about the same as they did in 1980s. That's over 40 years with little to no real growth in income. Meanwhile, the cost of living, housing, healthcare, education has skyrocketed. It's like trying to fill a bucket with water while someone keeps drilling holes in the bottom. But let's zoom out. This is not just about numbers, it is about shift in mindset. Previous generation valued saving, often out of necessity. They lived through wars and depressions where frugality was not just a virtue, it was a survival. Today, the young people grew up in a world of abundance where consumerism is king. The message is clear: spend now, worry later. Social media does not help. Every scroll shows someone flaunting a luxury vacation, designer's outfit, or expensive gadgets. The pressure to keep up drives many into debt. And there's a gig economy. On the surface, it promises flexibility and freedom, but scratch the surface and you will find instability. No benefits, no job security, no steady income. Debt is another silent killer. The average young adult today owes over $30,000 in student loans. Credit card debt is rampant, with many paying interest rates of 20% or more. But here's a twist. This is not a story of doom and gloom. It's also a story of resilience and adoption. Many young people are rewriting the rules, embracing side hustles, learning to invest, and finding creative ways to live frugally. They are rejecting the consumerist trap, opting for minimalism and financial literacy. Take, for example, the rise of FIRE, financial independence, retire early. It's a movement led by millennials who save aggressively, invest wisely, and live modestly, aiming to retire decades before the traditional age. Or consider the growing interest in cryptocurrency, which, despite its volatility, represents a new frontier in wealth creation. But systemic change is needed too. Policies that address student debt, make housing more affordable, and ensure fair wages are critical. Some nations are taking steps in right direction, but progress is slow. So, why do young people struggle financially? It is a perfect storm of rising cost, stagnant wages, societal pressure, and systemic challenges. But the question is not just why. The real question is what's next. History shows us that every challenge brings innovation. The Great Depression gave rise to social safety nets. Economic crises have always spurred change. Perhaps the generation's struggle will birth a new era of financial thinking, one that values sustainability over excess, knowledge over blind spending, and long-term security over instant gratification. The story is not over. In fact, it's just beginning. And whether Whether you are a young person trying to make sense of it all or someone looking to understand the next generation, one thing is clear: the choice we make today will shape the financial future of tomorrow. So, what role will you play in this unfolding narrative? Will you be a bystander or a change maker? The power is in your hands.